Yo, what's up, guys? So today I'm teaching you. Man, I love this trick. I love this trick. I don't. I love it. It doesn't have a name quite yet because I've just been playing around with it, but it was inspired by something I saw Jason England do with a triumph effect. And with triumph, I don't like to mix effects with triumph because it sort of overshadows the effect of triumph. And so I thought to myself, how could I get this thing to work without triumph? And this is what I came up with. So I literally just made up this trick last week, and I haven't performed it yet for people. But I just love doing it for myself. And often you'll find those tricks where you will never perform it for anybody, but it's just fun to do and it's just fun to think about. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that either. But if you ever do decide to perform it for somebody, I'm sure it'll be awesome, and I'm sure it'll be a good time. And so, with all that being said, let's just get right into it. Alright, so for this trick, let's just imagine that I have a participant that's helping me out for this. I'll just be talking to an imaginary person, so just have that in mind, alright? So what we'll do is we'll have just somebody cut to some cards, maybe less than half the deck, alright? So they can shuffle these as much as they want to, and we'll just shuffle these as well while they're shuffling those, alright? So what they'll do is they can cover it with their hand, but since we don't have a hand, we'll just use the card box there so nobody can know exactly what the card is that they're looking at, alright? So just so you can see it, I don't want to see it, we'll just show you like this, and just remember that top card there, and just like that, we'll cover it, alright? So what we'll do is I'll put this deck of cards in my pocket, and let's see, I'm going to try to get some psychic vibrations about what I think your card might be, alright? So let me just pull out a random card here, and I'll try to sense I get a little tingle in my finger when I feel the right card, alright? So, a 7. I don't think that's enough. Let me try a different one. Let me try one here. Ooh, another 7. That has to be lucky, right? So look, since we have 2 7s, those are both odd numbers, and since we have a diamond and a club, the card that you're thinking of must be a different one from these. I think it might have been a spade. Since, like I said, these are odd cards. I think your card must be an even one. I think you went for a lower one. I think you might be thinking of the 2 of spades. Am I right? Let's check it out. Let's take a look. The 2 of spades. That's pretty crazy. But what I was really doing is trying to see and trying to feel exactly how many cards you cut off just now. In fact, these are both 7s. A 7 plus 7 is 14. Let's take a look at this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And exactly 14 cards, and exactly the 2 of spades. And that is what happens when I get a little tingle in my fingers. Alright, so what you'll need to make this effect happen is a good marked deck, and one of the best marked decks that I've ever seen is the Cohorts from Illusionist, and these come in all colors. Even comes with a ghost deck version. I'm using the green ones, one of my favorites, but it also comes in red and blue. I highly suggest and recommend this deck. In fact, you can pick these up with 10% off using my discount code SeanDivine at checkout. I mean, don't just stop at one deck of cohorts. You can go all out because it's 10% on your entire order. Anything you can get Illusionist is 10% off, alright? So, helps me out, helps Illusionist out, helps you out, so it's a win-win situation for everybody. So, there is a little bit of a setup for this trick, alright? So, a little bit of a top stock setup, and it's only about half the deck, maybe less, alright? So, what's going to happen is you need to get 5 court cards on top of the deck, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Alright, below that, you will stack it starting with 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s, 2 7s, 2 8s, 2 9s, 2 10s, and 2 jacks. That's about half the deck, and I mean, maybe a little bit less, but it's about half the deck. So again, you have your 5 court cards on top, and you have your 2s, your 3s, your 4s, your 5s, and so on going down in the deck, alright? So the reason why I use the 5 court cards on top is because A, you need it for mathematical reasons, and B, since they're all number cards, when they shuffle, it'll just look like just a random batch of cards with those court cards mixed in there. But that's just if they look at those cards, but it doesn't really make a difference, alright? So what's going to happen is with your setup like this, is that you say for your presentation, you can do whatever you want to, but say, I'm gonna try to test my my intuition or my psychic abilities today. All right. So what you're gonna have them do is cut off. You tell them to cut off some cards, maybe about half the deck or a little bit less. All right. So they do that. They cut about this many. It doesn't really matter, just as long as they cut within, below those 5 court cards and above those jacks. All right. So. This many is perfect. Now you ask them to shuffle these cards, and while they're shuffling these, what you're going to do is, since you're still holding the deck, you ask them to cut them off while you're holding the deck, right? And so the deck is still in your hand at this point. What you're going to do is you need these 2 cards on top of the deck to tell you exactly how many cards they cut off. In this case, it'll be 18, all right? So what you're going to do is while they're shuffling those, you just shuffle these 2 top cards, boom, boom, singly to the bottom of the deck, and then shuffle off normally like this. All right, so you have those 2 top cards now shuffled to the bottom of your packet. Now, as soon as they put the deck down, as soon as they get done shuffling, you say, look, I want you to just take a peek at your card, like poker style, and make sure that nobody sees it. All right, so they're going to look at it, and we'll just use the 4 diamonds there as their card. Say your head is turned, but before you say this and before you make it apparent that you don't want anybody to see the card, you just read the marking. All right, so you know it's the 4 diamonds without looking at it. We'll just do one more just so it's random. All right, so when they get done shuffling and put the deck down, I already know that that top card is the 8 of clubs. Boom, there it is, just by the marking, which is right there in the corner. All right, so as soon as you spot that mark, you turn away, you give them their instructions, take a peek at it, poker style, so that nobody could see what the card is, and then put their hand on top of it so, nobody could see what it is, all right? So now at this point, you turn back around and you just put the deck in your pocket, and you say, look, sometimes I get a little tingle on my finger. That's a Harry Lorraine line. I like to use that a lot. But say whatever you want to say. Say, I'm gonna try to find a card or 2 that might tell me what you're thinking. All right. So you just pull one of those bottom cards out. All right. So you just pull it out. A 9. Ooh, I don't think that's quite enough. All right. So you just pull another one out, just like this. The other bottom card. Another 9. That must be lucky. It won't always match, but sometimes it will. You can use that to your advantage if it does. They match 2 9s. That must be lucky. And really, you're ad-libbing, all right? So next, speaking of ad-libbing, what you need to do is come up with a way that makes sense about why these 2 cards tell you that they're thinking of the 8 of clubs, all right? So it doesn't have to make sense. You can BS your way through it, all right? So, 2 9s, 2 9s, that makes sense. We have a heart and a spade, a black card and a red card. Let's see. Like I said, it doesn't have to make sense. It can be complete nonsense, but in a way that seems like it makes sense to you, it's all that matters, all right? So 2 9s, all right? So we got a heart and a spade, so you must be thinking of a club card. Since we have 2 9s, let's see, your card must be, see if we go in the middle or one beneath, I think your card has to be the 8 of clubs. That was probably the worst example I could possibly do, but you have to you have to sell it, all right? So that's the whole thing about this trick, all right? So how could a 9 of spades and a 9 of hearts tell you that their card is the 8 of clubs? Come on. But as the more you sell, the more convincing you can say that, they'll be convinced as well, all right? So you do that whole monologue. And they take the card off, ask them to look at it, and put a face of, it is the 8 of clubs. And everybody, nobody's going to know how you did that, all right? So let this sink in, and then they think the trick is over at this point, all right? So next you say, look, what I was really doing is not only trying to figure out what your card was, but when I get that tingle on my finger, something else happens. And these 2 cards means something else. It's 2 9s, which add up to 18. I was really trying to see how many cards you cut off just now. And this will always be the sum of these 2 cards, in this case 18. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 exactly. Alright guys, so as always, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It does mean the world to me. And if you got value out of it, give me some value back by hitting the like button, subbing to the channel, because it helps me out more than you might think. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.